Hey guys, Strong Associates back again. It's Alex.
Justin the Orange Dream.
And we are back with our yearly tradition of the top 10 movies of 2013. We're late again as usual, but that's okay.
I had to get all the movies watched. There's a lot of movies to get through.
Absolutely, and let's not waste any time. We're going to get right to it. First off, though, we got some honorable mentions. Would you like to go first?
Sure, I had The Hobbit, American Hustle, Captain Phillips, Blue Jasmine, Prisoners, Nebraska, Inside Llewyn Davis, and The Conjuring. All very good movies.
Yep, I had The Hobbit as well. Frozen, love that movie. Conjuring, best horror movie of all time, or for a long time. Blackfish, great documentary. Rush, Prisoners, and Nebraska. Well, all those great movies and ones you should.
There was a lot of good movies last year.
And
actually.
Star Trek too.
Yeah, there's a lot of good movies in 2013
Yes.
actually.
So I haven't seen them all.
Yeah. So number 10.
You want to go first, or?
Sure, my number 10 was Rush. I thought this was, I don't know, this movie was just really interesting because I thought that it fleshed out the characters really well, the two lead characters. The acting was really good. It was exciting. Not a perfect movie by any means, but, you know, I was compelled by the
one
story.
thing I felt that was interesting about that movie was that for the marketing, it was all about Chris Hemsworth's whatever character.
Yeah.
And Nikki Loudon's character was kind of the main focus for
Pretty much, yeah.
I thought it was interesting. My number 10 was the film Mud. This was a really...
Oh, that should be on my honorable mention, sorry.
Yeah, this is a very, very good movie. Basically, it's we have to take place in the South. Really interesting characters. Mud, played by Matthew McConaughey, is really great. I love this movie's kind of like, look at the Southern lifestyle, and also kind of like has like a really interesting look at like kind of like a kind of interesting love story in there too.
Yeah.
And it was very, very fascinating. And
Very good child acting, too.
Yeah, great child actors too.
Which is rare.
Great movie. I feel like it missed that extra something to make it that classic, but I think it's still a very, very fantastic.
Pretty cool feel
film.
to it, just a very down southern charm. Okay, so number 9, I guess I'll just keep doing here. My number 9 was Dallas Buyers Club. This was actually like, in terms of acting, it's hard to get much better than this. Matthew McConaughey was fantastic. Jared Leto, Oscar worthy, definitely Oscar winning, definitely deserved it. This was just I thought it was a realistic portrayal, and it was celebrating these people, but it didn't do it in a way that, you know, overdid. It wasn't very Hollywoodized, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It was very stayed very true, down to earth to the story. But it was just such a great story.
Yeah.
Well acted.
I'll cover that later when I talk about that. My number 9 was Captain Phillips. This was a very, very good movie. First of all, I think that it was shot great. I mean, like, they have a very large boat they had to shoot on, and I think the interior, like the outside shots where they're getting the boat moving, like the boat chase, was really, really cool. Fantastic acting. Tom Hanks is never bad in any movie ever, and he was great here. The end scene with him, like being checked out by the medical officials, was probably like the scene where I'm just like, right there is why he's the best actor in Hollywood, probably. And then the Somalian pirates were really great too. And I just love the idea that this was a story that was about the shades of gray. It wasn't just, you know, good or evil. It was like, you see these pirates as people that just do this as a way to make a living, and I just thought it was a very, very good movie and a very fun movie and a real good roller coaster ride as they hyped it up as.
Yeah, it managed to be suspenseful even though you knew what would be.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, that was great.
Okay, my number 8 was Gravity. This movie was visually stunning. This was just, the story was very simple, so this was mainly about the visuals. I thought Sandra Bullock was very good, though. They actually kind of added some depth to her character. I actually think she deserved her nomination. This is the only movie I've really liked her in that much.
You didn't like Blindside?
I did, but I didn't think she was Oscar-winning caliber. But yeah, this movie was just beautiful. Like, it's an experience. You know, you just go there and you just get lost. You feel like you're in space. Like,
totally agree.
Yeah.
My number 8 is Fruitvale Station. This is a movie that I think was criminally underrated and kind of swept under the rug. Unfortunately, it came out at a really bad time because it came out like right during the Tavon Martin case. So I think a lot of people looked at it kind of like, oh, you know, you're releasing it this time, you know, there's a marketing ploy. But this was a really great movie. I felt like this movie did a great job of like making you care about these people in the movie. It started out very slow. That's one thing I didn't like about this movie was the slow beginning. But you realize that like the little things that make you care about this family, like you actually like are start bonding with this family. You care about this guy, and the ending just left a real just shockwave. Even though you knew it was coming, it was just like that moment was just so impactful, and it was really hit you hard. And it was a great movie that does a good job of bringing a true life story to the screen and not Hollywoodizing it, as you say. Tremendous movie.
I'm going to talk about that more later because
Okay.
it's on my list higher. Number 7 for me was Star Trek Into Darkness. I know some people are going to think this is a weird pick just because it's like an action movie, adventure movie, but I thought it was just really that good. I mean, like, I think these new Star Trek movies were both outstanding because they did a great job of casting these characters. They feel like it's their own interpretation, but yet they're still true to the original characters.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of funny interactions between them. They just have great chemistry. Benedict Cumberbatch was outstanding in this movie.
Probably the best villain of 2013.
Yeah, he's the best villain I've seen. He's like maybe the best since the Joker from Heath Ledger.
I agree.
Not on that level, obviously, but like he was just perfect in this role. He kind of made the movie a little bit, I would say.
I would say so too.
But yeah, just a great adventure movie with great action and great characters. I mean, it was as good as you could hope for.
My number 7, and this is going to be a controversial one, and we're probably going to cover it more because
It's supposed to be more controversial later.
Yeah, is Man of Steel. This movie got a lot of hype, and I think that for the most part, this movie delivered on its hype. This was the first time I've ever truly cared about a Superman movie and enjoyed a Superman movie, besides the original classics. Just visually, it was great. It felt like a real, like, you felt like the power that Superman has. And I think the guy who played General Zod, what was his name?
Michael Shannon.
Michael Shannon, thank you very much, was great. He was, I really, really enjoyed this movie, and I'm kind of interested to see where they go with the franchise, even though I think they're going to kind of ruin it with the whole Batman Superman thing. That's a story for another time, but I really, really enjoyed this movie, and I'll talk about more about it when we get to when it's on your list.
So it's higher on my list. That's going to be more controversial.
The internet is already exploding.
I know, I'm just getting so much hate from
yeah. Whatever, we get hate enough.
Yeah. My number 6 was, he touched on earlier, Fruitvale Station. I'm just going to say what I thought of it a little briefly. I liked it because it was just presented him as a normal guy, and it was just kind of the story of a normal guy, and that's what made it more tragic, I think, at the end, because it was like, this could be anybody, you know what I mean? And that it drove it home. It made me care about this man, even though he's not, like, he's not noteworthy or anything other than she's a man.
Trying to make a better life for himself.
Right, yeah. And I don't know, I connected so much to the character.
There's one scene, okay, I want to talk about it real quick, which is like the scene like where he's having dinner with his family, and wasn't, nothing really special, just, basic thing, but it's just like, when you see it and you're just like, you get that kind of like, almost like, you kind of like start like to project yourself, like you see your family, and just like, it was a really weird moment in that movie, but like, that was kind of the moment of like, okay, this movie's got me hooked.
Yeah, and even though I knew it was going to happen, then like my heart was sinking during the end scene. It was just got so intense, and it was just terrifying. You're like, oh shit, don't do this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's like
that scene
is devastating.
A great scene.
A movie that can affect me that much gets my respect.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yep.
My number 6 is a movie that this is probably the movie I've seen the most.
I forgot this on my list too. This is a good movie.
The World's End, the third in the Cornetto trilogy from Edgar Wright. I absolutely love this guy's work. Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, great. This was a great movie as well. This is a movie I think that just gets better and better as you watch it more and more. I've
only seen it once, so maybe that's the problem.
You just start like realizing some of the in-jokes. Like this movie literally gives away the entire plot in the first 5 minutes, and it's such a fun ride. The characters are great. They actually got some depth to them, and it's a fantastic comedy. This is probably one of the best written comedies I've seen in a long time. I absolutely love this guy's writing. I love the characters. I love the acting. Great action scenes. This movie is so good at doing action scenes. Like I said, this is probably the movie I've seen like more times than any movie on this list. Just because I own it and I watch it time and time again, it keeps getting better and better as you watch it over and over again.
Yeah, I've only seen it once, but it struck me that I thought the acting was great for a comedy.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic.
But yeah, all the actors are good. You got Nick Frost and Simon Pegg are always great. But then you got Patty Considine, Eddie Marsan.
Yeah. If you get a chance to watch the director's
Martin
commentary,
Freeman.
Watch like the commentaries because like they will expose like so many of these in jokes that they throw in there that you might not catch.
Yeah, like I noticed, like each of the 12 bars, like has the name means something.
Yeah,
that's bar. Like a lot of clever stuff I didn't catch. Okay, my number 5 was Before Midnight. This was a movie that got kind of forgotten about come Oscar time because it came out very early. It was the third in the trilogy, Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, Before Midnight. This movie was just, I don't know, it's almost hard to watch because it's like a real portrayal, very realistic portrayal of a relationship, like the good and the bad and the ugly. But ultimately, I thought it was pretty uplifting, and like the dialogue, not much happens. It's almost all dialogue based, but the dialogue is so thought provoking and interesting. The acting's fantastic. I don't know. This is one of the movies I think, in like an intellectual sense, was probably the most satisfying of any film I saw in 2013. Okay. So I loved it.
My number 5 is Dallas Buyers Club. I really enjoy this movie mainly because, like you touched on it, the acting is great. Jared Leto is amazing in this movie because I think one thing he does so well is like it's just the little things he does in that portrayal that just adds so much depth to his character.
It would be easy to make that character over the top too. It's very like understated.
Like the scene like where he basically is like about to die is just so well played because like it's not overacted. It's just a very simple thing, like the look in the mirror. Just that is so great.
There's so many little things in this performance that made it great. Like
Matthew McConaughey was great as well, and I like the fact that this was like a real life movie. And it tells you a very controversial subject, and also the main character, that character we're kind of rooting for, Matthew McConaughey, is an asshole. He's a terrible,
he hates
terrible
gay
person.
people at the beginning.
Yeah, he basically hates him the entire movie.
He still doesn't, particularly care for him.
And he's a terrible person. He's just trying to. He's basically doing it because one, it's the right thing to do, and he's kind of got screwed over by the system, and he's trying to make a quick buck. But at the same time, you're rooting for this guy, and I think that's a symbol of one, a great story, and two, great writing and great acting. Yep. So really, really great movie, and I think that one that deals with a very talked about issue that's kind of like been almost forgotten, I think, in this day and age.
Yeah. My number 4 was Short Term 12. This is kind of a smaller movie that I'm guessing a lot of people haven't seen.
I haven't seen it.
This is basically, just briefly, it's a story of these people who are in charge of kind of a foster care facility for people with like mental, like troubled kids, and it's just, I thought this was just a tremendous human story. The interactions between the characters, I very much cared about the characters. I don't know what to really say about it because a lot of people haven't really seen it, but just see it. It's a powerful film.
My number 4 is the movie Her. This movie was very talked about because of the kind of the setup, which was this guy falls in love with an OS, which is basically
an operating system,
an AI basically.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just kind of laughed at it and blew it off, and I thought like, okay, this could be interesting, so I gave this movie a chance. I absolutely love this movie. I think this is one of the best love stories put to screen since Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It is phenomenal. Writing is great. And I also like the fact that, like, you know, I thought that the OS was like designed to be a dating system. Like, it's like, oh, okay, this is like, that's kind of creepy, but and it's like, no, it's actually like it's supposed to be like almost like an assistant. And like over time, these two personalities bond, and just everything about this movie really clicked for me. I love the look in the future that Spike Jonze had written for. Just everything about it, and like the emotional moments of this movie really clicked, and they hit hard, and it's just a great movie, and I think it's one that really touches upon like relationships in general. Like, and I like that there's a great scene where ADMs talks about like relationships and just basically like, listen, we have a short time to be happy, so if it makes you happy, fuck it, do it. And like I love that. And I think that's so simple. I highly recommend this for people. It's a weird movie, but if you can get past the concept, there's a great love story in this movie.
This is my number 3, so I can just segue right into that. But yeah, this movie, it was beautiful to look at, but there was not a lot going on.
Yeah.
But yet, there wasn't a lot physically going on. It was kind of a lot of scenes of him just sitting there, kind of talking to the AI.
Yeah.
But yet, like the dialogue was so interesting that it didn't matter. And Joaquin Phoenix's performance was amazing.
Yeah.
He didn't get an Oscar nomination, which is unfortunate. Because
very unjustified.
He carried this movie. He had a very difficult task to be reacting to someone who wasn't actually there, but yet it was believable. Just the expressions on his face. He did so many like little things with his performance that made it so great. And this had a great, everything in the movie added to the message of the movie.
I agree.
Yeah.
One thing I also gotta say is Scarlett Johansson. Just like this will make you love Scarlett Johansson even more. I mean, she is,
if that's possible.
She is just like the most like the fucking greatest woman in the world in this movie. I mean, just it's like you actually start like man, I can see why someone would fall in love with this personality. It's like it's a very charming. Like she deserved an Oscar nomination or something, or like an honorable mention. You know,
there was a ribbon.
Yeah, or at least a hug or a cuddle, maybe, you know, something.
I'd give her one of those.
I'm sure you would.
What was your number 3?
My number 3 was Gravity. This was a movie, again, got a lot of hype, and it delivered. I mean, this is a movie this is worth going to the IMAX 3D, going to pay the extra mile to see this movie at great theater, because this movie is an experience. I love the director. What's his name again?
Alfonso Cuarón.
Thank you. Love his work. Love Children of Men. I think it's a great movie. This movie was just like visually beautiful. I mean, there's that opening shot where it's like 15 minutes of a single take, basically, is one of the best shots in all of cinema, in my opinion.
Recent
cinema, yeah. It's amazing. It's great. just the visual spectacle of this movie is incredible, and it's very great acting. And like it is kind of like a one-woman show where Sandra Bullock basically has to carry the story forward, but like her character is it's kind of relatable and like, kind of like you attach to her pretty quickly. And George Clooney's George Clooney, which is awesome.
The scene I loved is when she's like, it's like I'm either need to like spring into action or I'm just gonna sit here and die.
Yeah,
she thinks about her daughter and everything.
That was a great scene.
And then it seems kind of cheesy, but yet I bought it. You
works,
know, like it worked.
And also, I do agree with like the plot of this movie isn't that great. It's basically the universe hates Sandra Bullock and is trying to kill her, but at the same time, it's such a roller coaster. It's like it is literally an experience, and I haven't watched this movie since it got out of theater, so I'm kind of curious how that would translate.
If it holds up or not.
Yeah, I'd like to see if that works. But great movie, absolutely.
Okay, my number 2, and this is where the controversy goes full blown.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Okay, thank you. Man of Steel. I thought this was maybe the second best superhero movie of all time, second to The Dark Knight, which is the undisputed champion. This movie, why would I put it my number 2? I thought this movie was great, and it was great in ways I think a lot of people will miss. I'm not trying to sound like a douche or anything, but I'm saying like I think a lot of people saw the action, and there is a lot of awesome. Action
this is
some of the best action I've ever seen.
I would say like the action this movie is like the Superman movie we've always wanted, where it's just like it's two superpowered humans fighting, and it works.
And what I liked from it is that I actually thought this had a tremendous story with a lot of symbolism that was great. Other than like there's obvious religious symbolism, but just the idea of Superman kind of wonders why he is the way he is. There's questions of like his identity. He wants to be able to fit. Like he's the he's a Superman, super being, but yet all he wants to do is fit in with the people.
Yeah.
It's kind of about the formation of his identity. Like he has two different fathers, kind of nature versus nurture. The whole what it means to have like this burden of being like the savior of the people upon you and not really knowing how to accept that or understand that. I just thought there was a lot of depth to this movie.
And also, I think this is one that where like you actually got the idea that like you understood that like Superman is an alien. You know, in other Superman movies it's kind of brushed over, but this is the fact like it acknowledges like this guy is an alien from another planet, and some people would have a problem accepting that this is an alien. You know, and that's really cool. If you want to see a better look, because like I don't think we can express it in enough time.
Right.
You know, check out the Nostalgia Critic's review of this. I basically listen to what Angry Joe has to say about this because I think he handles our argument. I
completely agree with his argument, but his argument definitely brought up a lot of stuff.
I agree. Yeah, that's a great review though. It looks at both sides of the argument.
It does. Yeah.
My number 2 is The Wolf of Wall Street. Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio can do no wrong in my book. When you put those two guys together, you get magic. And this was a great movie. It was a 3-hour long movie. And I was not bored a single fucking second of this movie.
I would agree. I didn't put it on my list, but I agree with you.
Yeah. This was amazing. It was well acted. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio was amazing. How he did not get an Oscar is almost shocking to me.
Well, I mean, Matthew McConaughey was...
He was, yeah.
And so was Chiwetel Ejiofor, but there's a lot of good performances.
Absolutely, but like it was a really close call for him. Jonah Hill was great. I'm really happy to see him.
Yeah, very different role than what we're used to seeing from him.
There's just so many great acting in this movie. It was funny. It was just you, and also like this is a movie that like you can get like an adrenaline hype watching this movie because like the speeches Leonardo DiCaprio gives, it gets you hyped and like makes you like want to go out and do something.
My favorite part was when he was super drugged up and had to crawl out to the.
Oh yeah, the comedy in this movie is just it's hilarious, but it's a very very great movie. Just absolutely worth seeing. It is very vulgar though. It's got a lot of drugs, a lot of sex, a lot of swearing, a lot of nudity, and you know it's great though. It's a roller. It's super fun.
It's an out of control film.
It's awesome though.
See, I really like this. I thought it was just kind of par for the course for Scorsese, which is still great. But like, I just my biggest problem wasn't boring, but I felt like it did take a long time and it got its point across well before it kind of got repetitive at points.
All right. Well, we both have for the second year in a row. We both have the same number 1 again.
Yeah, we do.
Ironically, they both deal with slavery
in a very different way.
Exactly. We have one which dealt with slavery in a kind of fun, charming way, and this one is
in a very entertaining way.
Yeah. This one is dark ass shit.
Yeah. This was
12 Years a Slave. I'll let you start with this one off.
This movie affected me emotionally in a way that very few movies ever have. Like, it's terrifying. Like, the idea of just getting your freedom taken away and there's nothing you can do and all you can hope to do is survive. Like, one day you just wake up and suddenly your whole life has been taken away from you. His family's taken away from him. I thought the acting, like, Chiwetel Ejiofor, who played the main character, Solomon, I've never been so affected by a performance. I don't want to say that, but rarely been so affected by a performance.
Yeah, I agree.
I just so sympathize with this character. Just you could feel like the pain and terror. Like I felt like I wanted to cry within like 20 minutes of watching this movie. Just seeing him in that situation.
Yeah. The female actress that was alongside
Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah. Oh my God, man, she was great.
Well deserved Oscar as well.
Michael Fassbender, one of the most terrifying men.
I don't think I've ever. This might be too exaggerating, but I don't know if I've ever hated a character that much. I just wanted him to.
He was terrifying. Just so many like little things. Like the one scene I love the most is where like he's basically talking to Solomon about, like oh, I hear that you're trying to get away or you're trying to escape. And like it's like Solomon's explaining something like just kind of like staring at him and just like then like slowly like pulls at his life like just kind of like laughing up like okay it's like just like, this guy was fully ready to kill it. It's just it's terrifying. Amazing acting, yes, and just I love the fact that this director took an interesting look at slavery. Like he didn't try to like slam it in your face like, oh, slavery bad. It was like he did it in a kind of like almost subtle way. Like there's a couple great scenes. Like one is like where like they have like the slave being whipped in the background, but at the same time like there's other slaves just carrying the con around like acting like nothing's happened. And the scene where Solomon's being like basically almost choked to death, and just like everyone just goes about their day like nothing happened. And of course like the scene where Solomon has to whip, what's her name? The characters.
I don't remember the characters.
The main actresses. Yeah. And like you don't see her getting whipped, you see the reaction of the people around it. Like,
and that was some of the most disturbing stuff.
Yeah, because like it's more disturbing to see someone's reaction to it. Like you see Michael Fassbender's like character almost like happy, and his wife's just like so pleased with herself for getting this woman beaten. And it's absolutely heart-wrenching stuff. And once again, I gotta say, like much like Dallas Buyers Club, like they don't try to paint Solomon Northwood as like this hero of slavery. It's just he's a normal guy
just trying to survive.
Exactly. Like at the end, like he doesn't try to come back and free all the other slaves. Like he gets his freedom. Like he's gone. He goes back to his family.
There's parts of the movie where he has to kind of like step over, not necessarily step over, but he doesn't help others as much as he should because he's trying to look out for himself. And that's what he has to do.
And at the same time, you totally understand where the character's coming from. And this movie is not for the faint of heart. It is difficult to watch.
It's not. It was difficult for me to watch. I've seen everything. I've seen all manner of disturbing things in movies. This movie was hard for me to watch.
Noah watched the movie and loved it too.
Yeah.
One thing to add, Noah, or no, you're good?
You guys got this.
All right. I figured.
You brought up a good point, though, that what was disturbing about it wasn't necessarily what you see, but the situation. Like, they showed, there was violence, but the violence itself wasn't necessarily overly graphic.
It wasn't violence for the sake of being violent. It was violence for, like, to show how people in this world would react
it was, the emotional, I guess, ramifications of that violence was more disturbing.
So I would already mentioned that this is probably, like, the best movie to ever depict slavery because like
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Like so many movies try to like it's almost like a white shaming thing, like shame on you for In this movie, I don't think it does that. It's very much trying to just show like what life was like and not trying to shame guilt on you.
Well,
I don't think.
It wasn't heavy-handed.
Yeah, okay, there you go, heavy-handed thing.
It wasn't just shoving things down your throat. It was saying like this is what this man's life was like. Yeah. And that's what made it more terrifying to me than all the others, because it didn't feel overly cinematic. So I felt like it made me think this is what these people went through, and that's
powerful movie, and not for the faint of heart to watch.
But if
I recommend it a lot.
Watch it.
Maybe wait for the TV version. That might be the safest bet.
Even then,
you might want to have some therapy ready on the same.
I would say though, if you like movies, this is a must-see film.
Absolutely, it's a crowning achievement of cinema, I think.
Yeah.
All right, well that'll wrap it up for this year. See you in 2014.
Yep.
Or hopefully, whenever.
Hopefully before then.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, all right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, guys. Again, sorry for it being late, but whatever.
It happens. Yeah.
Thanks a lot.